This video should hopefully clarify any basics as far as passives and bonuses that battle pets have against each other. Currently in game there are 10 different types of battle pets. There's aquatic, beast, critter, dragonkin, elemental, flying, humanoid, magic, mechanical, and undead. Keep in mind too that there are two different things you need to worry about: what type of pet you have and the abilities that that pet has. For example, if you have a dragonkin pet, he'll probably have a dragonkin ability. However, more often than not, your dragonkin pet will have abilities other than just dragonkin abilities. It might have magic, flying, beast, humanoid, elemental, mechanical, or critter. The Ashar Whelpling is actually a very good example of this. If you look at that specific dragon, the first ability that he has is actually a beast ability called Claw. Then he has his dragonkin ability called Breath, 3 magic abilities, and an elemental ability. Keep in mind there's also no such thing as the best pet. I get that question all the time. What's the best pet? What's the grandmaster of all pets that's going to just kill and annihilate everything? Well, there isn't one. It's more like paper, rock, scissors. Something always beats something else. And it goes around in the circle just like this. So if you're thinking of the type of abilities a pet has, or the damage that you can do to another pet, this is what you want to remember. So again, remember, it's not the type of pet you have, it's the ability, it's the damage outgoing that we're talking about here. So flyers are going to hit aquatics really, really hard because aquatics take more damage from flyers. But aquatics will hit elementals really, really hard because elementals take more damage from aquatics. Elementals are going to hit mechanicals really hard because mechanicals take more damage from elementals, so on and so forth. Again, keep in mind, this is not the type of pet that you have, it's the type of ability you are using against a specific kind of pet. So if you look at beast abilities are very strong against critters. And if you think of a pet that has a good beast ability, but it's not necessarily a beast, the Kunlai Run actually comes to mind. It's a great example. He's a humanoid, but he's got some really hard-hitting beast abilities. So if you put a Kunlai Run up against a critter, he'll probably still annihilate him because he's got those beast abilities. Now, if you're thinking of the specific type of pet that you have, now you're thinking defense. You're thinking incoming damage. Because it's not like you can change your frog from an aquatic to something else. Your frog is going to be a frog no matter what. So, aquatics, if you have somebody that's using an undead ability against you, you're actually going to take less damage because aquatics take less damage from undead abilities. And again, another circle, paper, rock, scissors, all over again. So as you can see, aquatics take less damage from undeads, undeads take less damage from dragonkins, dragonkins take less damage from flyers, so on and so on and so on and so forth. I put together a whole bunch of these little sheets here, so feel free to pause the video at any time. I'm going to go through them fairly quickly, although I'll start with this one and I'll kind of go slower so that way you can see what I tried to do as far as laying stuff out for this to be easier to understand. Keep in mind also that every single type of battle pet has a passive. So for aquatics, their passive is that harmful dot effects are reduced by 50%. You want to try to use them against elementals and undeads because if you have an aquatic ability, then they're going to hit elementals really hard. However, if you're fighting against a magic pet, your aquatic abilities are going to not hit so hard because magics don't take as much damage from aquatics, whereas elementals take an enormous amount of damage from aquatics. Now, if you're talking about an actual aquatic pet, look at the defense. If you have somebody that is a undead or using undead abilities against your aquatic pet, he's going to take less damage because aquatics don't take as much damage from undead abilities. But if you're fighting a flyer, flyers hit aquatics really, really hard, and aquatics take more damage from flyers, so they're going to have a weak defense against flyers. Beasts, you want to try to use them against critters and humanoids. You want to try to avoid them against flyers and mechanicals. Their passive ability is actually pretty cool. At 25, they do 25% extra damage when they fall below half health. And this is actually good to know in the back of your mind. If you have something where you have a really hard-hitting beast ability, but it's got a fairly long cooldown, and you're pretty certain, if not positive, you are only going to have one chance to use that ability, wait until your pet is underneath half health. Then you'll have your super hard-hitting ability with a 25% damage increase. Critters are cool too. Critters are immune to stun, root, and sleep effects. So if you have a battle and you know right off the gate you're going to be stunned, you're going to be raided, you're going to be put to sleep, critters might be an option for you. Obviously, you don't want to do that if it's a beast, you're fighting a beast or somebody with beast abilities, because it doesn't matter if you're stunned, he's probably going to just hit you really hard after that. But if you're fighting anything else, if you're not fighting a humanoid or a beast, then by all means, it might behoove you to actually use a critter instead. You also get bonus damage against undeads, and you'll have a better defense against elementals. Dragons deal 50% additional damage the next round after bringing somebody's health below 50%. So if we're pet battling and the moment that the other person's pet falls below 50%, the dragonkin will proc and say, oh, I just dropped him below 50% health. Yay, my next round, I'm going to do 50% additional damage. Again, kind of like the beast ability, if you can time it where you have a really hard hitting ability and you know that if you do a certain combination with this particular trainer or something like that, and you can drop him below 50% health, use your super hard hitting ability and get 50% additional damage and just finish the pet off. Elementals ignore all negative weather effects. However, they do gain the beneficial weather effect. So, if you're fighting somebody and they have, let's just say, a bunch of crows or ravens, and they use the ability Call Darkness, and they change the weather where healing is lessened or negated, or you don't get as much healing, your elemental is not going to care, because that is a negative weather effect. So elementals that can heal, they'll just heal right on through that. That's not going to they'll chuckle. They'll be like, that's nice. No, they're still going to heal just like normal. However, if you change the ability to something like sunlight, where healing is increased, that's a beneficial weather effect, and your elemental will gain that. Keep in mind too that they have a bonus strike and a bonus defense against mechanicals. So stuff like a fell flame, that's a wild pet in Outlands, if you know you're going to have to fight a whole bunch of mechanical pets, they're really, really strong, because not only are they an elemental pet, but they have elemental abilities, and they will pretty much annihilate any kind of mechanicals. Flyer's passive is that they have a 50% extra speed boost while they're above 50% health. So a lot of times in pet battles when you're fighting flyers, all of a sudden you'll be faster than they are, and that meant that their health just fell below 50%. You want to try to use them against aquatics or beasts, but you want to avoid using them against dragons or magic. So thinking back to the Azure Whelpling example, that is a really, really good pet against a flying pet or something with flying abilities, because he's going to have a weak strike against flying abilities, have a weak strike against dragonkins, and if your dragonkin has magic abilities, that magic ability is going to really hit that flying pet really, really hard. Humanoids recover 4% of their maximum health with every single attack that they successfully land on you. Keep in mind, dots also count. So you can dot up somebody and then go to the back line, and every time that your dot hits, you will actually get some health back from that as well. Try to use them against dragons and critters, and try to avoid using them against beasts and undeads. Magic pets are pretty cool because they can't be dealt more than 35% of their maximum health within one attack. So keep in mind that that is very specifically, they can't be dealt more than 35% of their health within one attack. So if you are leveling your magic pet and you're like, ha ha ha, level 25, you can't bring me before 30% or 35% of my health, even though you probably would one-shot me otherwise, if they throw a dot on you, that's not necessarily one attack. And every single time that dot hits, that can count as multiple attacks. So if you are trying to level a magic pet and you know that you're not going to be dotted, sure, you could go against a level 25 and they could just hit you really hard and they won't be able to kill you because, again, you won't lose more than 35% of your health within one attack. Mechanicals will resurrect once per pet battle with 20% of their health. So the moment you kill a mechanical pet, they will pop back up and come back to life, and they will have 20% of their health. So if you have an ability that you're using against a mechanical, that is a multi-round or a multi-hit thing. Once they pop back up, if your pet is still doing that, your pet will continue to do that and can actually still kill them through their 20% health depending on the ability. Undeads resurrect as well, however, they are immortal for 1 round. They also die after 1 round. Whereas if you can get your mechanical pet back up and he's got 20% of his health and you've got a heal, you can stay alive for a while until you're actually killed again finally. Undeads, however, you can kill them, they'll resurrect, you can't kill them at all after that, but then they're only good for 1 round. So hopefully this answers a bunch of your questions as far as what kind of pet is stronger or weaker against what other kind of pet, and what has increased damage or decreased damage or increased defense or all that kind of fun stuff as far as which pet against which type of pet. I hope it also answers some questions as far as passive abilities that each battle pet has as well. Thanks guys, and good luck pet battling.